Great. Hello, my name is Jeffrey Villier. I am the new Director of Engineering for Buchla Electronic Musical Instruments. The interesting point of the show for us today is the new, old Music Easel. And Music Easel is a exact replica from Don's original schematics of the product he developed back in 1973. This being the 40th anniversary of the product. And we are bringing it back in its original form without any DSPs, VSTs, or anything that would be not original. And we just want to have something accessible for customers to play with and be creative with at a little bit nicer price point and a little bit more ergonomic for live performance than the standard 200D systems that are obviously still available. And as you can notice, it's all the same layout. The only real change is we added one range switch for the modulation oscillator, which didn't really affect the original circuitry of it very much. And there is also some built-in circuitry into the keyboard that will allow some additional control functions that are common to the 200D systems. So we did have some compatibility designed into that as well. So it merges the new with the old. We also have the fun thing that people really like here is the original programming card, which in the old days you would actually solder resistors into these matrix points that would represent the values of the sliders on the front panel and allow you to save presets, 1973 style. This is of course going to be shipping with the product, as well as there'll be some future expansion options available through that slot that will give you some more modern patch storage and modification options. So it's the Easel. I don't know what else to say other than it's the Easel that's back, and quite a bit less expensive than the original. The MSRP for this is going to be $3,995, and we are expecting to have the units available late Q2, which means about 2 to 3 months from now. So we're going to be busy doing production on these as soon as we're finished with NAMM. So we're really looking forward to getting these out in the market and letting people do some really fun stuff with it.
So were there any challenges sourcing components for it? Because obviously it's the original.
That's a great question, because yes, there were parts that were specified as parts that are really not available anymore on the common market. But with the specifications, there are replacement parts available that are basically that have the same specifications and so forth to give the same functionality, and really the critical stuff is all the same. So we're using the same UA726 Expo converters that were in the original, and it's very, very close. If not, I can't say it's identical because there's a couple parts that are changed, but we have really worked to keep it as close to the original as possible in terms of schematic, structural design, and so forth.
So I'm sure people would want to know, so what are the parts that you couldn't find and have to be changed?
There were some FET transistors, a couple diodes that were in there, but they were non-critical parts that were commonly available that were the same specs. So it's I know people are going to say it has different parts, it's going to sound different. No, I mean there's nothing critical in here that's really substantially different.
Okay, and for those that don't know, do you want to give us kind of a quick spin through of what it actually is?
Well, yeah, it's got a little bit different paradigm than say your standard modular or Moog style system. It does have oscillators. There's a modulation oscillator that's right here. That normally
single oscillator?
It has a similar range as the complex oscillator, which is the primary audio oscillator. Mainly it's used for modulation of the complex oscillator. You can do balance modulation, frequency and amplitude modulation, so you have a lot of parameters to control from that. And over on this side, we have a 5-step sequencer, which you can switch between the sequencer levels. There are multiple sources for the inputs to these. You can use the keyboard. There's this little module with the yellow sliders. That's the pulsar, which is more kind of like a triggering LFO type thing. The orange here is a standard attack release sustain envelope generator, which some people will be more familiar with. And as the signal flows here towards the right, we've got the standard Buchla VCF VCA modules that are similar to the 200 series stuff. And we also have lots of inputs and outputs that are used for interfacing to external sources, to bring sources in, send stuff out. So there's a lot of real-time capabilities for external signal sources. And then at the end, of course, we have a mixer that sets levels. There is a real spring reverb as in the original built in, and headphone outputs and a master volume. So it's a nice complement of modules. And then, of course, the very characteristic is the touch plate keyboard that's exactly the same as the original. You have the ability to do pulses. It sends out different control CVs depending on the keys that you play, and it's also pressure sensitive. So you have outputs on the side over here to patch into the whole patch bay. It has some arpeggiation built into it, preset voltages, and a lot of the same functionality as the original.
So was there a temptation to kind of try and update it and bring some features that there's always that temptation, and you know, I have to give Don credit for just being steadfast and being focused on what the original really was. With the addition of the range switch, that helps other features, but it has to be the same, and that's really what the goal of the whole design project was. Okay, so this project's obviously recreating something from the past. What's in the pipeline for maybe new items?
Well, in addition to this, we're of course keeping to expand on the 200 series modules, and we're really going to see how this goes first before we. There could be ways to expand through the expansion card on this with maybe a card that allows presets and other external control of the unit, and I think customers that have both a 200E system and an Easel will of course find them to interconnect and be symbiotic. So you know, there's such a large library of interesting things that Buchla has created over the years, and we want to bring some of those back, build on those, and really carry the spirit forward of what he's been doing, because it's so revolutionary. It's truly interesting stuff, and it would be a shame to not have that brought back and available to anybody who wants to use it.
So I imagine he was keeping a fairly close eye on this project.
Yes, this is a very intense project to get through, and I think we're all proud of how far it's come to this point, and you know, when we get it shipping soon, it'll be even better. So I think we're all happy about this.